So you guys have just been to 2 conference sessions, your first 2 conference sessions here at the Aspen Brainstorm.
Yeah, the conference that I went to was the decline in American reputation, which was basically about, or the part I got out of it was why other people don't like Americans.
I think that America helped to a lot of countries all over the world, so I really don't understand why.
Maybe it's because like America, she's the boss of the world. Maybe just people don't like to have bosses.
Maybe the rest of the world is afraid from this big America.
Because everywhere you go, you see some American product trying to Americanize someone.
You know, I'm Filipino. Most of us have dark skin, but a lot of the Filipino stars in the Philippines, they're all light-skinned. They all try and look as American as possible.
Each one of us has his own religion, culture at the basis, but sometimes I decline myself and become American totally. Like, I imitate it totally. I don't just take the good qualities of it. That's why it means that I decline the authentic, I'm not being genuine over here. So this is negative imitation.
Paulo. I'm 17 years old.
You know what I'd like to do?
Yeah.
Is it possible to move us this way so we don't have to look around that? Is that going to screw up your shot?
Oh no, it's actually better.
Yeah, I just want to, it's hard to kind of keep peeking around that thing.
Yeah.
So why don't you get set up? Take your time. That is the world's smallest camera.
Ready when you are. Alright, so my name is Paulo Sabran.
I could only do it during those years of my life, and I delayed doing the Chinese. A lot of people talk about careers. I'm not really a believer in careers. Just doing the right thing at the right time, what seems right to you.
This conference is pretty huge. A lot of movers and shakers. A lot of people pretty much make the world go round, and it's really kind of overwhelming for me right now.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give me? What would you want me to take away from this conference? Right.
Yeah, well, first thing you should do is relax, because they all go to the bathroom the same way you do. And it's something that's important to remember. And they all have their flaws, and they all have their problems, and you have to keep that in mind. I mean, looking at me, you wouldn't guess that I was in a mental hospital twice for manic depression, but I was. And each of these people have hidden things behind their success. When you're doing real well in life and then suddenly you end up in a mental hospital and you're diagnosed with a disease that you didn't know you had, number one, it's kind of shocking. Shatters the old ego pretty quickly. But number two, it's very good because it teaches you to have perspective on life that other people won't have. But I bet you if you asked anybody in this crowd what their most important experience was, they'd probably tell you it was something bad that happened to them rather than something good that happened to them.
Wonderful.
Great.
Okay.
That help?
We're good.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boyd.
Pleasure.
Bob.
Bob, please.
Thank you.
None of this Mr. stuff.
I tried to commit suicide on the campus, and I went to a mental hospital. Then they transferred me to a
Which
pub.
school was that?
Branson in Ross.
In Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah, my roommate from prep school lives in Ross.
Wow.
I was going to say, it sounded like Ross.
Yeah.
Were you depressed?
Yeah.
What was it about?
Oh, it was just more about the kids and sort of, it's such a cultural shock, it's kind of hard to really be open and talk about, I had suicidal tendencies, I was locked up, because, there's the whole shame factor. And,
Oh, I know.
God,
I'm glad that
now.
you're open about it. It's
Yeah.
a really important thing. When I went to the White House, I worked for Clinton in the White House.
Yeah.
One of the most important things I did was talk openly about my own mental illness.
Wow.
And I think it's a really important thing to tell people that you've been down so they know you can come back and have a life again.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry you suffered, because I've been there. I mean, I've had suicidal depressions, a number of them, so I know what it feels like, to say the least.
Yeah.
But you should have a lot of pride in the fact that you came back from what you came back from.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's really brave of you to say that. So.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Be in touch anytime. Let me give you a card.
Oh, definitely.
done a lot of work with advocacy groups for mental illness
That's
over
great.
the last 15 years since I was diagnosed.
Wow.
Well, I figure if people like me don't do it, who's going to do it?
I'm not as depressed. I'm not on Prozac anymore. And I'm still dealing with it, though. It happens every so often that, I guess an inner part of me knows that I'm still capable of this stuff. It still crops up every so often, and I try and deal with it, accordingly. But yeah, I'm really happy with my life. I think it's just because I've sort of taken control of my life. It's just sort of taking initiative and make, your life sucks. What are you going to do about it? You do something to change your situation. I think that's sort of been a guiding principle in my life right now.
For the American Red Cross to serve all the community, we have to be able to reach new immigrant populations, we have to reach the inner city, we have to reach the extreme rural area. We can do that so much more easily through technology.
Because of technology, we have more ways to make a living than we used to. More people can be themselves, they can find their own way. So in that way, I think technology's really helped diversity a lot. In fact, it might be the only thing that ever really has.
Technology itself, as you know, is a neutral force. It's a question of who controls the technology.
We say at PBS that technology has finally caught up with our mission, because our mission has always been to use television, radio, internet, all forms of media to educate, to inform, to reflect the diversity of this great country.
I mean, one of the great paradoxes about the world we live in today is that the United States is the most advanced society in the world, but it is also paradoxically the least informed society on the rest of the world.
And I think we have a long way to go to leverage technology for fostering true understanding cross-culturally.
I think technology, and especially the internet, can promote diversity very well. It's a very inclusive, non-discriminating medium.
So I've seen schools, one in a rich area and one in a poor area, where everybody's been talking back and forth, talking about what football team they like and what their interests are, never meet each other. And suddenly when they're brought together, maybe at the end of a school year, somebody you thought was a boy is a girl. And somebody that you thought was big is small, and somebody that you thought was one race is another. So the oddest things happen when you're able to communicate without having that prejudice before, the prejudging before to occur.
So I think that the internet, cheap devices, cameras, and all this stuff is going to substantially increase people talking directly to other people in countries and not neuter culture as it comes into the U.S. and you sort of get it wrong. And I think that will enhance diversity.
I think diversity should promote diversity. I really honestly believe we can have as much technology as possible. I've been in the most rural areas of South Africa and people have cell phones. I've been in refugee camps and people have cell phones. And so for me, there needs to be a much broader dialogue.
Did you ever see this cartoon years ago where there was this picture of a dog sitting in front of a computer terminal? And there's this other dog that walks up to the dog and says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I'm on the internet, and on the internet, no one knows I'm a dog." Nobody knows I'm a kid.
What I like about Brainstorm is it's a place where you can be yourself. You are not protecting yourself because of the press. You can state your mind, you can say what you want, you can meet people, express your thoughts and your pains, your beliefs about the world and what's happening, whether it's good or bad.
Since it's raining, I think we should continue a little bit longer and hope the rain passes so that, yes ma'am.
I think we as Arab people would respect very much if you are very honest about your stance in the region. Say you are a superpower, you are. Say you have your strategic interest in our region, you are. You need the oil, you need many other things. But I'm afraid to tell you, None of the Arabs believe that you are there to bring democracy or human rights.
We didn't go to Iraq to take Iraq's oil. We went to Iraq to eliminate a man who was a great danger to the world and a terrible, terrible torturer and abuser and rapist to the Iraqi people, and I don't apologize for that.
Since the invasion and occupation, most surveys in the Muslim world show opinions of the United States have gone way down. Why is that?
Some of it is an inevitable result of being at war. War is an ugly business, and it produces civilian casualties. It unfortunately produces abuses like Abu Ghraib. You know, it will look different in 5 years.
Can the globe survive without cooperation between the West and the Muslim world? If you're framing it in terms of a survival question of the globe, then we have to put together our best in order to find solutions. And solutions are indeed possible.
You know, this conference has a lot of leaders. Political leaders, business leaders, leaders in humanitarian causes, academic leaders, really extraordinary people. It's important to expand the conversation and to grow what this conference is about. There is hardly one session where the next generation or kids or youth weren't mentioned, because what are we talking about? We're trying to make the world a better place, and who are we going to make it a better place for? To me, it's very important to bring younger people into this mix. And I felt really proud that the kids were here and that everybody was giving their time so enthusiastically.
When I was your ages, I had many big ideas and many hopes. And sometimes I got the impression they weren't doable, so I didn't pursue a lot of them. I wish that I had had the courage back then at your age to pursue them at that time.
I think you have to be courageous in your life.
Be courageous.
Push the boundaries.
Never take a no.
You can't live with fear.
Listen to others, but don't take every advice they give you.
Take risks.
Be a dreamer.
Do things you haven't done.
Be patient.
Set high goals.
Be proud of your achievements.
I don't think there's anything that will help you better in life than to always do your best.
If your job is to screw in light bulbs, be the best person at screwing in light bulbs on the planet.
I think people who always do their best, there's a correlation that success will follow them.
So the key is really try to excel at everything you do, but always kind of direct yourself towards the things that you're passionate about.
And don't be afraid to fail. You have to fail.
Very often, people who have a lot of charisma are filled with doubt. So this thing that you're thinking about, your artistic voice, can just as well come from a great doubt as it can come from a great confidence.
Be willing to take chances. Be willing to accept a job even if it isn't perfect. And know that if you can prove yourself in that job, there's a way to evolve it into something else. And just stay curious.
But as artists, I think that what we should protect is doubt and uncertainty, and learn how to be present in doubt and uncertainty.
You really don't know what life is going to bring you and where you're going to go, but you have to prepare for it. And if you prepare for it, you don't know where life is going to take you, around the world, places that you never thought. You'll meet people you never thought. You all never thought you were going to sit here in Aspen, right? Do this, develop that, your mind, everything else will follow.
Open yourself to change, which means you don't prejudge quickly and you don't understand too quickly. One of the biggest problems, and I'm in the technical world, filled with smart people. Everybody has to show they're smart, so everybody has to understand you so quickly. You say something, oh, I understand, I'm fast, I understand. Well, when you go back, it's very hard to understand other people. Ask anyone that's married. Husband, do you understand your wife? sometimes they'll say. Wife, do you understand your husband? I keep telling him this, but he never seems to get it. Every family says the same thing. So be careful when you're being quick to understand, being quick to judge. Give people a little room, and don't be too quick to understand their motives or to understand where what you think they mean. Explore it a bit, and that way you open up yourself to these innovations and new ideas from other places.
Don't take no. You're going to get thousands of no's in your lifetime. No, you can't do this. No, it's impossible. When you actually succeed, it's amazing how many times people say yes.
This is the advice I want to give you, and I'm not quite sure how to put this, but I teach college sometimes, and in the last few years, there's like these thousands and thousands of kids who come through college who are like all really well adjusted, and they dress really well, and they look really good, and they all seem kind of a little boring to me. And like, I want to advise you to develop some neurotic obsessive quality about something, no matter what it is. Get, something that's not dangerous or bad anyway, but just like get obsessively, weirdly, crazily involved in some damn thing. That's my advice to you.
Okay. And what do you think that'll do for me if I get obsessively involved in something?
It'll teach you how to think, it'll teach you how to care about the world, it'll teach you how to understand yourself and your mind, and it'll make you powerful.
Who doesn't like Justin Timberlake? Come on.
Me?
I don't.
You don't?
I listen to like 80s music because that impresses
I like Enrique Iglesias.
זה מאוד עניין אותי, הקשר של, כי ככה זרקו אתכם למים עם עוד שני אנשים, לבנות קבוצה ולעשות משהו ביחד.
קודם כל, כולנו צעירים, כולנו באותו גיל, וזה כאילו מאוד קרב בינינו. והייתה לנו שיחה על מוסיקה גם, ומה הדברים שמעניינים אותנו, הם ממש חמודים.
We went to a Mexican restaurant. I think it was the first time the girls ever been to a Mexican restaurant, didn't know the foods. But I saw how the boys helped them, read the menu, understand what they really want to order, and then just had fun together. And the way, when we walked down back to the hotel, Sabrina and Theo were like hugging each other, walking like a couple. Don't put that on the film, her mother is gonna kill me.
תיאו אלינגטון ממש חמוד, הוא צעיר ממני בשנתיים, 3 שנים, הוא כזה חמוד, כל הזמן הוא מחכה את נתן וסטיב. וגם פאולו מאוד מאוד חמוד, הוא מאוד התעניין בסשנס, והוא רצה ללכת וללמוד ולעשות ולדבר על זה, כאילו מאוד התעניין, הוא ממש בחור חרוץ כל הזמן חילקו את הכרטיסים שלהם.
Thank you. Wow, I love this. You have cards. Ellington Productions. Wow.
When we come back here with a new crew of 4 kids from around the world, what advice would you give those kids before they got here in terms of what they should expect and what's happening? What would you say, Paulo?
Relax, they're just people too.
I would just say come with like no expectations.
Come, relax, talk with people. They are like us, even they are high society, but they are only humans.
To come and see and watch how people are ruling the world, because it might give them a good advices for the future.
The first question you asked me when we first met was,
do you think corporations are inherently evil?
What is your answer to that question, Palu?
No, they're not all evil, because there have been a lot of sessions here trying to get business to actually do some actual good social change in the world.
Well, there's a very big corporation in the world, McDonald's. The man who founded it was actually dedicated to public service. His widow, she began talking with me several years ago, and out of this conversation, she determined to make a substantial bequest, a grant to us. It's about $235 million.
It sort of changed my perception of the corporation, and no, they're not all evil.
In fact, the companies that help people most, generally, not always, but generally, also make the most money.
Capitalism is about meeting the needs of people and making money by doing so. That's basically what it's about. And smart capitalists realize that. And that's what we're trying to facilitate. So, you know, there's a lot of great things that happen here.
From the time when they were in the office to the point where they understand that everybody's trying to do something special and good, and this is an important forum for that. It's been truly a transformational experience for them. They're leaving as a different set of people than they came as.
Actually attending this conference makes me feel, I guess, proud of myself because, I mean, like 2 years ago, who knows, I didn't even think of coming to a conference like this.
These ants remind me of the conference in the sense that, you know, before I went to this conference, you know, you just do your own little self-sustained thing, you have your routine, you take the bus, you take public transportation, you do whatever in this enclosed town, but then I come to this big conference and you realize how tiny you are in terms of the issues, of the global sort of issues that are going around. And so when I'm looking at these ants, it just feels so wide, and all these ants are just doing their own thing. And it's such a wide open kind of an area, and they're probably oblivious to the fact that there's something greater going on out there.
To meet all these people, it's really, oh, it's amazing.
That shows that if you want something in your life, you will achieve it. If you do everything that you can, and even more, you will get there. It gave me lots of inspiration and confidence, and I think it's gonna help me to improve my life.
We spotted the ocean at the head of the trail. Where are we going? So far away. Somebody told me this is the place where everything's better and everything's safe. Walk on the ocean, step on the stones, flesh becomes water, wood becomes bone. Now back at the homestead, where the air makes you choke, and people don't know you, trust is a joke. Don't even have pictures, just memories to hold. Grow sweeter each season as we slowly grow.
It's the four of us sitting here in the interview. So this is how the scene starts off. So Theo will come down, he'll sit in the first seat right here. And then Nathan will go, if you can move over here, that'd be great. Paulo, you wanna get the boy-girl thing going right here? Okay, so we got the interview going. We got the interview going, okay? So then you know, 5 minutes through the interview, Nathan, he cuts us off. So he goes, excuse me. I don't mean to interrupt, but if you had 5 minutes with Osama bin Laden, what you would do? And if you could just look at the group and not the camera, that'd be great. And this will be the last question, we'll wrap this up. That's it.
Hey! What?